Play that funky music, black girl.
You need to do an intro.
What's up, y'all? ED Feast Nation.
It's your girl, Ellie Bunny.
And it's your boy, The Real Diff, back with more videos. Right now, we're going to attack the elephant in the room, police violence. We're going to watch some videos and see what's taking place in Minneapolis. Stay tuned, watch, comment, subscribe if you want to hear anything, if you want to have any input. We're going to stop the video occasionally and talk. Hopefully you enjoy. Here we go. CNN first, apparently.
We do begin with breaking news. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and all around the world. You're watching New Day, and it has been a painful night of violence and protest in Minneapolis. At this hour, fires are still burning on the south side of Minneapolis after protesters took to the streets to demand justice for George Floyd, the unarmed, handcuffed black man who pleaded with a police officer to let him breathe. The officer pinned him to the pavement with a knee to his neck. The city's mayor is urging people to leave the area, and he has reportedly asked the governor to call in the National Guard.
The Minneapolis mayor also says he does not understand why the police officer responsible for Floyd's death has not been charged. Overnight, police did use tear gas to disperse the crowds. At least one man is dead this morning. The circumstances still under investigation. Police say he was shot and killed outside a pawn shop near the demonstrations. CNN's Omar Jimenez live on the scene. Omar, you've been up all night watching these developments. Tell us what's happening now.
There's still fire going on.
Well, John, frankly, Minneapolis is waking up to parts of its city on fire. Parts like where we are standing right now, basically across the street from the Minneapolis Police 3rd Precinct, which has really been the central location for these protests. Protests that, as you can see, devolved into riots and multiple structures. Because as we pan over, you see the smoke billowing across the entire southeast Minneapolis area here. And this, as smoldering and as on fire as it is, when we first got here, right before that or so, this was a 2-story building. There was a whole other section that was completely engulfed in flames and then eventually collapsed. Now you go across the street from this building. You see how the police are set up in the middle of the. You see how police are set up in the middle of the road, right here. They had formed a little bit of a roadblock to prevent people from going across the street into literally what was an active scene of fire this morning. And then across the street is the parking lot where you see some grocery stores that have been looted. And again, this is what happened as the protest began, largely peaceful in at least 2 locations across this city, and then it devolved into riots. Now you go into the central reason that we are seeing these protests. It is for the death of George Floyd, but also how that death unfolded. We have seen that while the officers were fired pretty quickly, the 4 officers involved within 24 hours of this happening, the family says they want more than that. And that is a mentality that we have seen echoed throughout the protesters. We have seen the mayor of Minneapolis chime in on that as well, saying that these officers need to be charged, and at least the arresting one, he does not understand why that officer is not behind bars. We do know that the investigation is still playing out at the FBI level, at the state level and beyond, trying to gather all the facts. But every minute that goes by without at least an announcement of either some charges or not, the people here grow restless. And again, the central point is how George Floyd went from, in a matter of minutes, pleading for help to what eventually became an eternal silence.
Earlier today, we'll show you some of the pictures of what went.
It's a lot to take in, especially if you are watching from the outside in. We still haven't seen the actual video of what happened. This is just, we have, but from the outside in, if you're just coming in one day and watching this on the news, you have no idea what's going on. Never seen the video, so, you know.
Yeah, I've only seen like tiny pieces of what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually want to even see it.
Yeah.
Just because I already know the outcome. I don't know. I don't want to watch anyone die.
It's not cool, regardless, especially the police. So that's why we got problems now. That doesn't help adding to. I mean, even if you say the past is the past, but if it's continuously happening,
it's not in the past.
It's
still there.
It's still there currently. You call it racist, you call it bad policing. Either way, somebody's dying in a situation. There's always going to be a problem. What happened to jail? If he did something wrong, you didn't even let him serve his time. For doing wrong, so it's like stupid. Okay.
I'm not even sure why.
There were flashbangs thrown by the police. There was tear gas. That was in reaction to water bottles being thrown at police, and then eventually firecrackers.
Water bottles and tear gas aren't like an equal.
No,
they're not an equal thing.
She tried to compare.
So if I throw a water bottle at you, your next thing is tear gas.
Well, we are talking about officials, so once you break the law, that's technically assault. Throwing a water bottle at an officer technically is assault. So yeah, you're gonna get tear gas if you outnumber them. Because if you think about it, the government is the government. Let's get that clear out the way right now. Yeah, these are officials, and you're tossing water bottles in a huge crowd like that. They're gonna go with tear gas automatically. It's gonna happen. I mean, I'm surprised people didn't get tased, but I don't think it got that bad to where they would worry about tasing people. I think
they didn't tase people because there's too many.
That's what I'm saying. I think they would retreat before tasing.
There's too many, and then you got to think of the repercussion. As soon as you start tasing people,
they're gonna attack
you are gonna have people beating your ass.
Yeah, they're gonna
like that's just fact.
Yeah.
It was gonna happen, and like that's why they sitting behind the barricades. Because they know as soon as everything pans out, every one of them is going to get their ass beat.
At the police precincts, as well as eventually folks throwing things and breaking the windows, some of the windows of the precinct. But police responded in force. They came out, flanked the entire side of their precinct, and you saw chaos just erupt. People were running. There was, it looked like the same picture, as I have covered protests around the world, the same picture that we saw, for example, in the early days in Ferguson, although there were not the military-style vehicles that were used in that particular protest. Instead, what you saw is protesters, for example, moving things like huge garbage cans into the way, police walking in a line, trying to push people back, and that constant back and forth between police and protesters. A lot of the protesters with their hands up, that's just become, the chant in the United States, hands up, don't shoot. And so what you're seeing is absolute frustration, absolute angst and anguish and anger over this video. And this is just one in a string of things that happened in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. They've had some other incidents where black men have been killed by officers.
They stayed up, just bum rushed that place. Yeah.
They should have seen that coming. I mean, if you're not going to listen to quiet protesting, you're going to do it aggressively. Because this is what y'all react to.
That stinks.
No, I'm saying, like, this is the only way it gets coverage is if we act this way. You never get coverage when you're acting peacefully.
That's what you're saying.
And then nobody ever hears the message because you only want to depict us as violent.
Yeah.
And now, like, if you're not listening to when I'm quietly telling you and peacefully telling you, then the only other resort is for me to be loud and destructive.
Yeah.
And that's how everybody is now. Like, they're tired. They're tired of, like, constant people being killed all the fucking time for
nothing.
No reason.
Close to nothing.
You could have
welcome to America.
Simple, like, you literally could have taken your knee off of his neck. Simple as that.
Actually, yeah.
Simple as that. He was already on the ground.
He could have used his hands. Oh, wow.
Yeah, if he wanted, because his hands was free. Everybody's seen his hands free. If he wanted to still hold him down,
he could have held his face to the ground. Literally, he still could have held his face down.
Not even his face. Like,
listen, a knee, I don't know if anybody out there has had that happen to them, but yes, a knee to the face is way different than having your face put down on the ground. It's way two different weights. We talking about strength coming behind that knee.
Weight.
Coming from the hip
weight
down
coming behind that.
On your knee. Touch your knee right now. And all of muscles between your knee and above is being put down on a person. On their neck. Come on now. No excuse. It's not that serious. Even if you are racist, it's not that serious. My lord. Could just threw him in jail and then went on to the next one. That's what I don't understand. It's retarded. But that's bad policing. That's not necessarily racism. I'm just saying in general, there are more than one case where there is just a lot of racism and nobody talks about it. But obviously, that's one of those situations where we're not talking about every cop. We're not talking about every person. But those few people you need to pick out. Racist. No, there's no proof that he's racist. But I'm saying all cops that are obviously, and you see their Facebook posts and they're showing that they're doing racist stuff. Those people you need to fire. Don't keep supporting them, and that's what makes people pissed off because that means, all right, well, you're okay with that. So yeah, I don't know what you expect from people.
This blank stare and grin as people are recording him as if this is just okay.
Yeah, I mean, this to me, the cop, whether he's racist or not, that's bad policing. It has nothing to do with the guy being racist. They teach the cops to, power, and no thinking involved, because you got to do what I say because I'm the authority. And I'm not saying every police department does that because there are some cool-ass cops, but if that's the generalized way you train officers when you go into battle or office or any type of situation, whether it's heavy gunfire or just a traffic stop, they're going to be assholes. Long story short, just trying to keep it straight 100. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get aggressive cops that always overdo things and then they don't see the wrong because they're like, well, that's what I was trained to do. And he's probably right. And that's bad. And I know because I've been in the field a little bit and it's kind of stupid, the things that you have to go through. But again, that's one of those things where you chose that as your... what do you call that?
Profession?
You chose it as your profession, so you should take it as such. Your responsibility to know your lines and your guidelines. Obviously, common sense and morality would tell you, I know I need to be aggressive because it's a big ass guy. He could probably beat all three of our asses, but I don't need to put all my weight on his neck. I could just probably just put my hand on his neck. That's just simple, common human courtesy. To me, you don't need to be a police officer. But, let us know in the comment section if you think otherwise.
And this is just one in the string of that, but this video is so excruciating to watch. It is so painful to watch, no matter, sort of where you land on the spectrum of what you think happened. You actually see a man die right there in front of your face. And so there's been such an emotional reaction to this. You saw mothers, fathers, you saw grandparents out there today, as well as in some cases some children. And then later on in the evening, things changed. As night fell, I was outside watching as suddenly the flashbangs and the back and forth got very serious. We saw what appeared to be Molotov cocktails.
That's crazy. They're like covering the whole block.
Sitting, and we were waiting to see what the protesters were going to do with those. The rest of the group of protesters were standing back and having that conversation, yelling at police. And then suddenly a fire broke out. Fire broke out at the AutoZone,
How many of these you don't
and
have
it was
they think,
engulfing the entire
shit,
billowing. That particular store is right across the street from the 3rd precinct, the police precinct here in Minneapolis, where people have been protesting. On top of that, you saw people break into eventually a wine and spirit store, and suddenly, a dozen people went in and started taking things out,
people, might I say.
That store, and
There's
then
probably a few thousand people in the street.
For lack of a better word,
guess, I would say between
Target, where we
5 to
saw
10,000
people going in and just
that was
taking
just
cartloads of things out of
there,
Target,
the corner
putting that in their
where
cars.
the police station was
melee,
filled with people. I would say about 1,000.
I mean, some people at the very beginning of this who were out there in the daytime, some elders who were out there in the daytime, African American leaders.
Look, see, but though, like, as far as like the destruction, understand it.
Yeah.
And the looting. Personally, I wouldn't loot, but I mean, look at the times that we're in right now. Everybody's hungry.
Corona.
People aren't getting what they need.
Things been getting shut down.
So people are gonna steal. People are gonna steal to provide for their family. So, I mean, they're not just stealing to steal.
Yeah.
This is a need.
It's like one of those things
and
where
the government ain't helping nobody with nothing right now.
It's one of those things where if you need it, you go get it, and that's what they're born. I mean, that's, let's say, the hood, and you need it, you gonna go get it. You ain't gonna sit there and wait for them to give it to you. That's not what you want us to do. You wanna go get it. And whether it's earn it or take it, that's the way they're doing it right now. I mean, I think it's all out of anger. I mean, you created that society. They don't understand what they're doing until they get these results. And it's a lot of people that, I did remember them saying that those were assistant housing.
Yeah.
That burnt
It's
out.
supposed to be assistant housing, but
yeah,
you can tell me that all day, but I
how
don't
long
know.
have they been building those damn houses? 2 years? You ain't been helping nobody. Come on now. Crazy.
Saying, please don't do this. Please don't let this deteriorate. Violence begets violence. But there is a way to go about this. But there are others who were saying, we are so angry. You can fix stores and you can repair windows, but you can't bring back this life. And this is their reaction to that. And you are still seeing that go on down. There are still smoke billowing. There are still firefighters trying to control that.